It's such a big question why we should restore the estuary, and so much depends on it. For me, the answer is quite simple, even though it's hard to do. But why we should restore it is because life depends on it, and for whom, I would actually say it's for the land itself. All of the rest of life's activities, animals, human communities, depends on there being a strong foundation, natural systems working, at least in my view. And if those natural systems are working, and the estuary is really the heart of our natural system here at the South Sound, we're going to have a lot better shot of our communities working and coexisting. So I'm not originally from here. I moved to Olympia in 2001 and then was gone for a few years for kind of past life pursuits. Came back in 2011, right before the Occupy movement started all across the country, and specifically Occupy Olympia. I got involved there, and from listening to people there, learned more about the Deschutes Estuary and the fact that this lake, because our tents were right out on the grass by the lake, and learned that this wasn't a lake, and this was an estuary, and there was a dam, and the dam it's not creating electricity, that it's just there to create a lake. And I was just walking around that area where our tents were one day, and kind of just all of a sudden, it's like something clicked in my brain, almost like Photoshop, where there's layers and you can remove the layers, and I just was able to kind of remove, click, the tents are gone, now the bathrooms are gone, now the grass is gone, and just seeing the natural area more for what it was. And so it was a really visceral, intuitive thing that was, I think I was able to experience from listening to people who knew more about the natural system, and I just knew it to my core that this is what we have to do. And it was probably within a year or two after that one of my good friends, Danny Madrone, was working for DIRT, and on social media posting about it, and so DIRT was how I got involved, as far as being a vocal supporter of restoration. For me, the biggest shift in my life, and this is again from learning from a lot of people who know more than me, and specifically Indigenous people and the tribes around here, is just the ethics of my environmentalism is that that as human beings belong to the earth and not the other way around. And there's the warm and fuzzy side of belonging to the earth, and then there's the reality and the responsibility side. And the warm and fuzzy is that the earth is our home, the earth nurtures us, takes care of us, gives us what we need, and that's it's that feeling of belonging is really positive. What that also means is that we're beholden to the earth's needs and systems, and not the other way around. And that's really our human systems in this context don't operate with those assumptions, and so I certainly can't say I live purely in that regard. I don't think it's possible in I'll just say in an imperial context, and more of a conquest relationship to the land. But I try to live it in my writing and my poetry, just kind of the perspective that I share on social media for sure, and just to try to create space for that reality that wants to be. As far as the Deschutes specifically, really that it's just an extension of the same thing. We belong to the earth and need to, we should be building our communities and systems so that they support those natural systems. I'm not sure I could speak, I certainly can't speak for the tribes. I've heard particularly from Squaxin Island tribe, tribal members, tribal council members, Charlene, tribal historians, about how important it is and how much the dam needs to be removed. And just going and reading back again when I was first hearing about DIRT, and they were publishing the papers that that were creating this vision for a reflection pond, a reflection pool outside the Capitol, and going back and looking at the letters that the tribe was writing back then about that this is a bad idea. Just like, well, if we had listened. I think there's a couple dilemmas, ethical dilemmas going on related to why we just seem to be in, it feels like stalemate. There certainly is movement, but it feels like this stalemate. And one, I think, is again kind of this cultural confusion that the earth is something that we can dominate when that's not how it works. So there's that, and then I think the other one is just attachment for folks that and that especially people that don't have Indigenous heritage and just kind of are not looking at things through that lens. Attachment to the lake, you know, and just like that this is a place that I used to go when I was a little kid, like people that are from this area and have memories of Lake Fair and just kind of that sort of nostalgia that, and it's just an attachment to a fantasy, I guess. And I think the way getting around it, just more education, more storytelling. People won't go somewhere that they can't see in their mind. And so getting more of kind of like a visual of just what this could mean for our community. I mean, to have an estuary like right next to a downtown, that is amazing. And if we could do that well in Olympia, the South Sound community, how cool that would be. Like it's, you know, it's asking people, especially people that have like really positive memories of there being a lake that was open to the public, that wasn't closed for all the reasons it's closed today, to give up that kind of that dream or that that image, and we just have to create like a new visual for a way forward, a new vision, like a new dream for how things could be better. I mean, I'm not going to be the best at the scientific reasons, to be honest, as far as being super fluent about it, but it's just not sustainable. The dredging that's continues to be required, the New Zealand snails that are just invasive species. Someone else would be a lot more, you know, like I said, my reasons are really just much more intuitive for why it needs to be restored. But there are a lot of people that can talk all about the scientific reasons and the total maximum daily load, all that stuff, but it's probably not my strength. Well, and I know from my first year now being an elected official, which was a change for me, having been more of an advocate, particularly on social justice issues before, that as an elected or a decision maker in office or in government, there is no shortage of people coming at you telling you what's wrong and what needs to change. And and a lot, you know, there's a lot of truth to that. But the strength and when change really happens, in my experience, is when people organize together in a unified voice. And so if you are passionate about restoring the Deschutes estuary, find an organization to get involved with, so that it's not just your lone voice amidst, frankly, the chaos that's hitting us as electeds. And for me, that organization, if you're in the South Sound area, would be Deschutes Estuary Restoration Team. They put on great educational events. They do a lot of networking with salmon restoration groups and the local tribes, and just a great place to be able to plug in and make your voice heard. Fortunately, unfortunately, it's not a City of Olympia decision, and in fact, the council is unified in our desire to see the Deschutes River and estuary be restored. So this is a state a state decision. And there's an environmental, an EIS process underway right now, so people can comment that way. But again, DIRT is a great organization to stay up to date with what's going on there and what are the right times to plug in and get your voice heard.